hear you as well.
Okay.
All right. So, welcome to Honey WTF podcast.
Yes, ma'am. We're here.
We're here. We're just back from taking a nap at
We're
Captain,
yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah, we went to go see Captain America, and I must say I slept through some of it.
I don't stop too.
But I think I started getting tired because it started at 5:50,
Yeah, 550
right?
allegedly.
Allegedly, and we sat there and watched commercials.
For like 30 minutes.
30 minutes, 25 minutes exactly
It was
what I was
25
looking at. Yeah, it was
exactly?
crazy.
That was a lot of
Or
commercials.
no, maybe it was 30. Yeah, it was, yeah, but why you gonna do
30
that to us?
minutes. 30 minutes of commercials, not just previews of movies to come, literal
Yeah,
commercials,
commercials.
insurance commercials,
It TV show commercials.
TV
They had
show commercials.
they had that show that you like on there.
Yeah, Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise.
Telling me to just go on home
This-
and go watch
yeah, go
Paradise.
home watch Paradise because this ain't nothing. That's it. Whoa.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We are living in a commercial world. We wake up, everything we do is for commercials.
Yeah, it's just yeah, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that, buy that.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Mass consumers.
Yeah.
Everybody must buy. You must buy. If you don't buy, you ain't doing something right.
Yeah, you have
Something
to be
wrong with you.
self-aware. You have to be self-aware.
Yeah.
Let me move this a little closer. Okay. So, yeah. So how did you like the film? Well, what you did see of it.
What I did see of it, I think maybe it's because I'm getting old now, but nothing impresses me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of had the story a little bit. I think there was a lot of propaganda in there. And because it was almost like, yeah, well, you have a flawed president, but he's the president.
There were some.
And at the end, they
Oh.
brought the country back to normalcy.
Yeah, there was some
There was
familiarity.
yeah, some words in there. It was kind of weird, I think.
Yeah.
Again,
Well,
I didn't see the
but
whole thing. I don't know the whole context. I'll have to watch it again when it comes out on Prime
well, I didn't have any problem with
or
that.
whatever.
It was a very diverse cast and people that you don't ordinarily see in lead roles, and I always appreciate that. I get tired of
Hmm.
seeing the same old faces everywhere, and to the point where I turn it off. It's like I don't want to see these
Yeah.
people no more. Just give me something new, somebody new. So
If Idris Alba was in there, would you be talking about? No, I want somebody new up in here.
no,
Oh,
I would
see,
not.
well, that's okay
I
then.
would
Oh, so only some people you don't want to see again.
Well, I mean, we're flooded with a certain look
Yeah.
and certain people, and nobody else's stories get told, and like as if
Ooh,
you
yeah,
know,
that's true.
I I just you know anyway.
So where was the diversity?
Well, you had Anthony Mackie as Captain America. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then you
true.
had the Hispanic guy who was supposed to be like
Yeah,
he
the
was going to be
Falcon.
the
The
Falcon,
Falcon.
and then you had oh gosh, she played uh Taylor. Her last name was Taylor, and she was close to the president.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually she dated Lakeith Stanfield,
Okay.
and they were an item for a while, and she was in a role that ordinarily you would not see brown skinned girls with
Yeah, and
curly
yeah,
hair in. You wouldn't.
that's
You
true.
absolutely would not. So
Yeah.
I like seeing that. It just I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
Hmm.
representation is important.
Who was that? The other girl that was like, she was in security or something, whatever her role was. The real short little girl.
The one who
Well, she could kick some ass though.
you
She could
know,
fight.
after she fought those people, and then we see her body, which is kind of like it's it looked like what's her legs were like
Yeah.
Toy Story guy legs. I know I shouldn't be
She
doing
out
that,
there
but
whooping people's
I'm like,
ass.
girl, they
Yeah,
have to really
she was
stop
like,
doing
okay. She ran up on the wall and
that. See, I'm not.
so
This is why I don't get into action movies because it's like watching a magic show.
We don't
I
need to
know
do
it's
that.
not
I
real,
know.
and I just don't like
know.
sitting through something I know is not real.
You know it's not real.
I don't.
It's like, come on,
I don't
you
have-
really gonna want me to believe that this little 3'11" just walked up on the wall and then damn near whooped everybody's ass in there before Anthony Mackie had a chance to.
And he had to have his shield.
Yeah,
Nobody
he had a
else had a
shield. She
shield.
didn't even have no shield.
So I'm like, I just don't have an appreciation for
Yeah.
those types of films.
It's
And
pretty.
maybe there's some is that wrong? I don't know. I just it's just so not. But I guess you're supposed to get carried away by the special effects and be like, ooh, I love how they did this and love how they did that. But I just
Yeah,
no.
I know.
like-
Special effects ain't that special to me no more. I've seen everything. They've done everything. There's like nothing new, right? You could do all the wing, making the wave and all that and everything.
just don't
We've
know.
seen that before. I could do that with the podcast if I wanted to, right? But anybody can do it now, and it's not special. It's cliche.
Well, no disrespect to the people whose career
Yeah,
it is
to do it.
to do those.
Well, I mean, it's all AI now anyway, so
yeah.
y'all.
I'd
it
rather
is what
have a
it is.
nice story and a plot.
Nice
and people
story. Don't need the
just-
special effects.
Yeah. That's what I'll go to the movies
Yeah.
for. We should have
Yeah.
went to see Wicked.
We
I'm
should
still
have.
gonna have my Wicked party because it's available now to
Yeah.
rent. So I'm gonna invite some friends over and we're gonna.
Yeah, I
watch
wanted to see it to see what the message was. It was kind of wasn't that much there for me. And I also wanted to hear Kendrick's song on there,
No, that
which
came on at
they
the end, and
didn't
that
play
was
till
good.
the very end.
Yeah, it was a good
It
song.
was
Yeah,
okay.
everything he does
It wasn't.
is
Yeah,
just
it wasn't one of his best, but it was.
I liked it.
Okay, maybe I got to hear it again.
I think
but
you do.
yeah, okay. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but it didn't seem like
I'm
it
sorry.
was all
Everything
that.
Kendrick does is fantastic.
Whatever. You sound like a Drake fan in reverse.
No, that's not no.
Yeah.
No, that's you can't.
Everything
That's not
Drake
that's
does
a false
is
equivalent.
fantastic, and you just everything Kendrick does is
That's a false equivalent.
okay.
Drake is not nearly as talented as Kendrick, and we know this. Why?
I know that, but that's just how it came off to me because I don't think that song for this movie was really all. But
You
just,
have to hear.
I just heard it when we were in the theater, so. maybe
Because
I
you were
gotta
ready to
listen
go
again.
anyway. I was waiting because it's a Marvel movie. I was waiting for,
Yeah.
after the credits roll, there's always something special.
Yeah,
that happens,
they don't do
but
that no more
there
because they
wasn't
play
anything
30 minutes of commercials in the front end. They be cheating you now.
Jeez, man.
Wow, nothing at the end. There's always something at the end of every
Yeah.
Marvel movie.
I wonder if we left too soon because people were still sitting there.
At the very end,
At the
end
very
of the credits.
end.
No,
Yeah.
when them fast credits start scrolling, for you have your first line of credits, and then
Yeah. Usually
that's
it's
what
like
it should have
sandwiched
came.
between
Yeah,
there,
so
I think.
maybe we could Google it and find out.
I don't know.
Y'all let us know. What did you see? Was there something at the
We
end
missed
of the
something.
after the 30 minutes of commercial, an hour and a half of movie, and 30 minutes of
No,
credits?
the movie was almost 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It was almost 2 hours.
Well, I was falling. I should have had my CPAP machine because I was disturbing Shonda. She kept waking me up. She
I-
don't. And
Was I snoring?
No, I don't
Oh,
think you
thank
were.
God.
I was looking at you see if your eyes were closed, but yeah,
They were?
They weren't. But
They
yeah.
were too.
Well, if I had a battery on that CPAP machine, I would have brought that thing.
And you were worried about me falling asleep. And you went to sleep real early. I was like, he was telling me I was gonna fall asleep. And
Well.
I'm sitting here watching the movie. And then I don't know. I don't know at what point I was like, yeah, it's tapped out.
Hmm.
Anyhow, so
Yes,
what else is
ma'am.
happening?
What else is happening? There's a whole lot of stuff
There is
happening.
a lot. There is a lot happening. Do
Who
we want to
got
talk
dosed?
about Voldemort?
Voldemort. there's a new. Well, there's a new phrase that's going around, and it's I guess people are starting to catch it, and they're getting dozed.
um,
Is what I've heard the phrase mentioned on Fox News while they were gleefully talking about how people were getting fired from their jobs for no reason and calling it dozed, and like it's their fault that they had employment at this certain place.
to do something, and they were doing
Yeah,
the job that they were hired to
and
do to
the
support their family.
yeah, and the asshole on Fox News, he was saying that somebody was upset about a veteran getting dozed. He said, no, veterans should not get dozed, but those other DEI people and other people that are in there with their jobs, it don't matter to them. It's just crazy.
I
People get jobs and they go to work and they base their life pretty much off of the job that they have, and it's steady employment, and they're looking at retirement and everything,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and then they just come around and get dozed, and these people think it's funny.
Stop calling it that, because that just legitimizes what they do, and that's what people always fall for with these conservative people. They always drive the narrative, and everyone else is put on defense. And you're defending something that doesn't need to be defended. It's misconstrued, it's lied about.
Okay, but
And
I called it dozed. You don't have to call it dozed, but that's what I was just saying what I heard on TV, and you don't need to tell me to stop doing something when all I'm doing is repeating what I heard on Fox News to make a point.
what I'm saying, though, in general, if we're using their language, we're
I'm not using
legitimizing
their
what they're
language.
saying.
I heard them say it.
Okay, that's fine for
Okay, well
you
that's
not to say it, but
okay.
I'm speaking in general.
Okay, well
If
tell
other
them to
people
stop. Yeah,
start saying
tell them to stop.
Doge, if I see
And
it,
I'm not even sure if it's really gonna be that widespread. I just heard it on one clip. All right. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's a issue with that phrase as of now.
There is an issue.
Okay.
There is an issue
So what else
because
do you want me to stop doing?
it's being comical. I'm talking about them and the way they're using it. I'm not saying anything about you
Okay.
and you using it, and that's what you're not understanding. I'm just saying in general what they do, the public kind of, well, I'll just say the media will take it and they'll start saying it too. They'll start saying it on CNN or MSNBC as if it's a legitimate term, and not realizing it's horrible. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
One way to show how horrible it is to say what they're calling it, because it's horrible and it's childish for those people to get up there and laugh about it and call it dozed.
Mm-hmm.
Very horrible.
It is. It is. But again, we just can't legitimize their language, because everything that they do seems to, like I said, like I was saying, it gets legitimized, and then people go on defense, and for things that they shouldn't go on defense for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. You can say, you're free to say whatever you want. It's free.
Oh,
world.
thank you.
You freedom of speech here.
Thank you for giving me that freedom.
I'm not the government. So you can say whatever you want to say.
Well, she's the government in this house, so whatever.
So anyway, back to what I was saying. And you brought up DEI too, and for me, I was thinking about how they mischaracterize DEI on purpose. And whenever I hear that come out of the mouth of Voldemort or any of his people, You can't really have a discussion about it with them because number one, they lie about it. They don't even
Yeah.
know what it is. I was watching The View, and that Farrah, whatever her name, Griffith person was cutting off Sunny, who I don't really jive with anyway, but she cut her off
Uh huh.
and tried to turn the conversation about DEI to the definition that the conservatives applied to it, which is not accurate. And
Yeah.
the whole thing just boils my blood. It's so terrible. And all it is just to make sure that that white people stay in control
Mm-hmm.
and that no other opportunities are given to anyone else. And it's not about, and this is the thing. It is not about unqualified people getting jobs or what it's not about that. It's about broadening the playing field, or not even the playing field. It's about organizations branching out into areas that they wouldn't ordinarily go to find qualified candidates for positions. That's all it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And then helping those folks network and do whatever they need to do in order to grow their career. It's not about Xing anybody else out. It's just opening those doors. And for people who, I'm sorry. Go ahead. It makes me angry, and I can't really articulate it well. It's just,
Yeah.
I just hate how
It
they
is
do this.
it is that, and we knew that they were coming for it, right? None of it is a surprise because from when they got rid of affirmative action and certain things that went through in the Supreme Court, and the first thing Donald Trump did after he was elected was come out and tell everybody how white people are going to get restitution for being discriminated against at certain schools,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew that this was coming.
Mm.
It's crazy. I've never seen a problem with what happened with the DEI and what it was doing, and just diversity and inclusion and awareness. And
To be honest, most of the corporations that put it into place after George Floyd were doing it was more or less PR.
mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people were really walking the talk. And if you look at metrics, did they increase their outreach to other communities? Did they do that? Did they hire anybody who was qualified? As a result of that outreach, how much was there of
Mm-hmm.
that? And it's not just Black people
No, it's
or
not.
brown people.
And that's the biggest thing about DEI.
Mhm.
It's not just black. It's not just for black
it's
people.
marginalized people.
And that's the thing.
Period. It's
Yeah.
just opening doors for marginalized people. And it's not
Mhm.
really opening doors. It's just presenting opportunities in places where they weren't presented before.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So you can, if you are a visually impaired person and there's a role for you where, you can actually be accommodated and do a job, hey, and you're qualified to do the job, the opportunity is presented to you. Women have benefited, white women have benefited the most. And that's from personal experience myself. I've seen it. So I don't,
Yeah.
I struggle with it. I just struggle.
'Cause I know even
Mm.
before DEI, when they started having, I guess, from the affirmative action in contracts with subcontractors would get contracts, but you would have to be a small business or a woman's business
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would hire one of those, you'd get credit, and for a certain amount of dollar amount. And if you come on the job with a affirmative action company, or it's called a LBE or a woman's business, a WBE or whatever, then you had a better chance of getting a job.
Mm. And many of those organizations, they would put a woman
They would know. He would
as
put
the front.
no.
For
So what
organization.
the boss guy I used to work for, he would put his woman on there,
That's what I'm saying.
his wife.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah. He put his wife on there, and okay, that's all it
So
is.
they'll work the system as long as it
Yep.
to their advantage.
Yes.
But whenever they think that somebody's getting a bigger piece of the pie that they feel that they're the only ones deserving of, it's like
That's it.
we all live in this country. We all contribute to this country. We all should have the same opportunities.
Yeah.
It's just it's insane.
That kind of speaks to what's going on right now, and they're miraculously finding all this waste and stuff and programs that we gotta close. We're finding waste, and it's almost like, okay, these guys had businesses that benefited from these programs and got grants and everything and subsidies for their companies so they could become billionaires. Now they want to shut all that down,
Mm.
or they want to call it waste and say, oh, it was Democrats' waste and fraud.
Yeah.
While they were defrauding the system the whole time. And they're still defrauding the system, and they're not. It is the obvious thing. Like they're not investigating themselves and their businesses. They're going around investigating other stuff so they could try to say, "Well, look what we found," and it's all crap.
Well, my understanding is that Elon Musk is shutting down departments that have investigated him.
Yeah, yeah.
The SEC, he's cutting back on those things because it's not
The Inspector General and all.
It's not
all of that.
advantageous for him.
Even
and I mean the
and
biggest
that's even why he went by after the NTSB.
Yeah.
You know, because they were getting on him for dropping stuff out of the sky and finding them.
Because he doesn't
from
care.
his rockets.
He does
Yeah.
not care if all the crap that he's not even building. He's just getting other people to do stuff and giving them money to do it. He doesn't really know the technology or anything behind it, but he doesn't care about lives. If if something drops on one person and they die, he doesn't care. It's like, oh well.
It's collateral damage.
It's collateral damage.
Well, that's how people get. After you have a certain amount of money and you're controlling you have a certain amount of power, your collateral damage becomes larger and larger to where you don't really give a damn, you know?
Yeah. The whole thing has just got me tied up in knots emotionally about it, and I just try to.
Yeah. You could probably sum Gaza up to collateral damage, right? Because the whole purpose of that was to gut that area and turn it into something else.
Yeah, that was
the people that are affected by it. Oh, that's just collateral damage because we're gonna change this little part of the earth, and we're gonna make it a moneymaker for us.
It's just despicable. It's absolutely despicable. And I don't understand how so many people think that this is okay.
That's what's the trip.
I really
How did we
don't
get here?
understand it. I don't
Is it
understand.
because I can't fathom why it's okay.
I'm going to tell you
How did that happen?
I'm going to tell you how it happened because they picked on messaging from the Democrats that were not hugely impactful, but it was triggering for people on the religious front and homophobic and stuff. So they put that first and foremost on their agenda, and they made it appear as though this situation, specifically with transgender people, that it was something that's just overwrought and women are in danger and all of this, that, and the other. And none of that stuff is true, but they believe it, and they have a lot of hatred in their heart because they don't understand. and they don't care to understand.
Is it possible that the Democrats trapped themselves into that message and of trying to be inclusive with everybody? Because the Democrat, I mean, it's you're looking at this. There's one bird, and there's a right wing, and there's a left wing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're as far as I'm concerned, they're all in cahoots. But the Democrats, so they were in a position to where if they were to try to backstep on all of that different stuff with the transgender and everything, they would get canceled, you know, because we were the party of canceling, right? And so then if somebody was to, and if somebody comes out and says something to the contrary in the Democrats party, they're, they, they jump on them, you know, they expose them and say, oh, you're a bad person and this and that.
Do you want me to respond?
That's
Do you
why I'm,
really
I'm
want me
talking to you. I
respond?
know what you're going to respond, but I'm trying to be realistic here,
I'm
right?
trying to be
Because
realistic
I'm
as
sure
well.
they've done studies, right? And they know that more than half the country is misogynistic, racist, and homophobic. And in order to keep what you have going, you have to toe the line either way. Maybe not go so hard on some stuff just because the messaging is not working right now. If you want to save your country, you got to be realistic.
Okay.
And I'm just being realistic.
You can be realistic, but I will answer your question as to why. And I understand why, because people, at the end of the day, I think people have to have principles, and you have to stand by the principles that you say are important to you and your values and everything, regardless of what happens. Especially if those principles are driving what you think this country needs to be about, which is about inclusiveness of everyone and understanding that people are not they're not in control of everything that happens to them in this world, and people need to just ease up off of that. Everybody can't be a freaking Christian. Not everyone believes that, and this country isn't even supposed to be about that.
Okay, I
So what's
understand that.
their go ahead.
Why did they lose? Why has this rhetoric that we're living in right now, why did this manifest and why did it get so strong? And why did Democrats get so weak?
You know, there are a lot of different forces at work here. You've got social media, you've got a lot of money, you've got Elon buying votes. It was very close. It wasn't a freaking landslide, but there was cheating going on with all of that too, and that's partially why. So it's not necessarily that the message from the Democrats was horrible. When I looked at the DNC and I see the vast majority of people on the floor, that makes me feel good. That's something to fight for.
That's true. I know, but I want to get back to that message and that principles that we're talking about because we've seen it. We've seen people that we wouldn't even suspect or that weren't even MAGA or anything, right? But then one thing that they have to say is about the having to got in trouble at work because they did something to the bus driver, right? That said something to somebody, and then he ended up having to go through a week of classes, some DEI classes or awareness classes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
And the way he expressed it, right?
Okay.
And then they're like, I don't know about all this Democrat stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it made people, our own people, right, not see the forest through the trees, and instead of just saying, look, everybody needs a chance, everybody needs to be included in all this and that,
Mm-hmm.
because of the climate of the country and the way people think. There's a lot of misogynistic, there's a lot of homophobic out there, and there's a lot of that, right? And you can't change these people the way they think. And if you want these people to vote for you so you can gradually make that happen, that's fine. That's what you need to do. But you can't like just try to force a whole ideology on people within a decade and a half. It's not going to work. Is people don't want to change.
Okay, well, it sounds like to me, and I understand your point. I understand strategy. I don't. I That's fine, but I don't. I personally, I don't need to be coddled. I like to have reality. I like to be presented with reality and presented with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, these people deserve a place. I also realize that the same thing that you're saying is what they said about black people during the civil rights movement.
Yep.
It's too soon. We have to wait. All of this, that, and the other. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. and all of his civil rights people, they kept hearing from these parties, but they kept pushing. Let me finish. They kept pushing and pushing. And that's where we got our rights, right?
Yes,
So,
but
wait.
no, but no. That's fine. But look, now what do we have? Where are we now?
You know what? The only thing you can convince me of, and this is one argument that you can have, because there are certain things that African Americans still need, and nobody's pushing those issues. When Obama was president, there was some expectations
Nobody's pushing that
for us, and they're like, oh, it's
pushing
not
all
a good
the
time.
other
It's
stuff.
not a good time.
They're
I get
pushing
that.
all the
I
other stuff more
understand that.
than what the African Americans need. It's more transgender, more this, more that, more Hispanic people, more everything. African Americans are always last on the list. But we're the ones that are going to vote more.
We're on the front lines, and
and even then, when they speak of us, they're saying, "Oh, you guys need money. You guys need assistance. You guys need this. You guys need that." They're not going to. I don't need any of that.
Okay.
Right? I don't need it. So, when they speak of African Americans, it's always they're putting us in a class, in a lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're putting us with maybe 20% of African Americans, but we have a whole lot of African Americans that are doing well, and our needs are not met either.
Our needs aren't met by in what way? I think during the Obama years, our needs were met.
Yeah.
Aside from getting reparations, which is what I was, basically speaking to, because Obama fashioned himself as a president for everybody. And the policies that he chose to push were for everybody. If he had to be pigeonholed and look at it to a certain group or pander to a certain group, it was the Hispanic group, because they're a huge demographic, I guess. They are a huge demographic.
But you remember, I remember one time we heard that Obama was giving free school or free college to the Dreamers, right? And we were thinking, well, what about us? How come we can't get some free shit?
Yeah.
Right?
There is, okay, here's the thing. I understand, but I'm also looking at what we actually have. Like you look at what we have. We've got either the conservatives or we got the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the Conservative Party doesn't share the values that I have. They just don't.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party aligns more with my values. Now, there are huge shortcomings.
Yeah.
And I am perfectly fine if there is a viable third party that can make some headway in certain areas. I'm all for that. But I have to look at what we have.
With that said, if the Democrats would have said, yeah, you know what, we're not too keen on the transgender issues and stuff. We're not really going to push for that. We're not going to push for this and that, because we're kind of getting a lot of flack from it, and it looks like the climate in the country, it's probably not the time right now, right? Would you have said, oh, forget it, I'm not voting Democrat then?
No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have done that. But here's the thing too, is that whole transgender thing was such a
Okay,
small
okay,
thing.
it's a
But
small
no,
thing. Yes.
it doesn't impact anything. And
Uh,
that's what I was saying earlier is we let the conservatives drive the narrative. That was so inconsequential. The Democrats, all they had to do, all they came out and said was everybody needs to be included. That's all
yeah.
they had, that's all they did. And that's what? That's people didn't like that.
It's a small thing, right?
Less than 1% of
Less than
any
of people are, but they made it so big to where, I mean, you could fight with fighting with principles. Pretty much lost the United States of America to a Russian asset because of our principles and because we had to hold on to an ideology. We had to be the first one to have a first black woman president. We had to we had to be the first one to have a woman. There was always that, we got to do this first. Democrats are doing this first. Look, we're raising glass ceilings and all that stuff. It got stopped right in their tracks because the country, there wasn't enough people in the country that were head over heels. Yeah, I'm for that. It was when Obama won, you know what they said? They were mad at McCain because they said he wasn't conservative enough. Code word for he wasn't racist enough. When he beat Mitt Romney, they were mad again. And they said Mitt Romney wasn't conservative enough. Code word for he wasn't racist enough. When Trump came down that escalator and said Mexicans are the worst people in the world, we got to get them out of, they said that's our man, he's racist enough.
He's racist enough. I get that.
And that's what we're up against.
I understand that. I understand that. But I don't know. I
It
you
almost
can't be
doesn't
something
matter.
that
It,
you cannot just
it almost doesn't matter anymore because now our media is being attacked. It's going to be state-run media within the next 3 years. You're not going to get any, like, there's stuff that's going on that's not hitting the news. We see people protesting and stuff and standing up and fighting for their rights and stuff, but it's hush hush. Nobody's telling. It's not getting broad. It's not out there. And people are normalizing. Every news organization is normalizing Trump and this bullshit.
yeah. So that goes to your earlier point is, us being citizens and not really locked into actually what's going on. It could be both sides working together to
It seems
achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. So
yeah.
it's very depressing and disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
I hate waking up every day with this stuff on my mind. Hearing some other outlandish thing that Trump has said. The latest being today, the way he went after Maine's governor, who was standing up for their transgender policies in their states,
Mm-hmm.
and he sounded like a child. He always sounds like a child, but this right here, what he said, the way he said it, he's just like, I got the power, so
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. And I love her. She was my hero of the day
Mm-hmm.
when she said, see
See
you in court.
See you in court.
And all the feckless ass people who were in that room, mostly men,
Mm-hmm.
with nothing to say. Nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody got out and walked out.
Nobody wants to.
Nobody did anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding on to this decorum, whereas this bull in a china shop can come in and just do. They're allowing him to do whatever he wants to do. Break whatever he wants to break.
A dictator.
And everyone else is supposed to hold some kind of decorum when they're talking to him, when he is the least person with decorum.
With me, we seen it. We seen it. When I saw that he won that night, there's nothing. It's done. It's done. Supreme Court, maybe Congress might change if in a few months. Who knows? I don't think so, because if they stole that freaking election, they could just go to whatever couple of states where we got the Congress running and steal that too, right? It's who knows?
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, and they're not gonna give it up.
I'm
They
just
are not.
I'm just hoping it's just a battle and it's not the war right now.
This is the
I hope it's just the battle and
no. The
not the
war
war.
is done. We had the
You
battle.
got it.
The war
I
is
have
done,
to have.
and we had the battle. And here was our battle. This is the battle we had. We had Georgia. We had the Georgia that tried to take Trump and hold him accountable for what he did to Georgia. And we had Fannie
Oh
whoever
Lord.
that brought some dude in that they did not dot all their I's and all their T's, and they end up getting the shit thrown out. That was our warrior. That was our soldier.
Insane. It's just insane.
Yeah.
How do you not be 100%
Up and
aboard
up,
above the
above
board?
reproach. You can't have nothing.
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 And then they question you about it. Well, my daddy told me to always hold some
Girl.
cash. Girl, shut up.
I mean, oh my God.
Just crazy. Just crazy.
I don't.
That was so. It's one after another.
It is. It is. I don't. I just don't. I don't like. I don't like living.
But and the thing is, we can't. But but please do this. We have
What?
to. We can't wake up every morning and think about it. Right?
Look, that
we
means
can
you
wake up.
throw this away.
Well, yeah, you could, but you can't care. It's like you can't. There's nothing that you could do. We could go out and protest, right? But that's only going to last for so long because because there's gonna be an executive order to shoot protesters, and that's gonna go through, and it's gonna be fine, right? That's basically. There's already states now, what, Louisiana, where protesting is illegal?
What?
Yes. You can't protest. You can't gather and protest in Louisiana. I know there was a bill in Louisiana. They were trying to get that passed. I think they did. You can't form and protest. You're going to get arrested.
No way. In Louisiana? That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah, Google it.
Louisiana protest laws.
I might be lying, but it sounds good. No, but you can't.
And where citizens can demonstrate balancing individual rights with public safety concerns, delves into specific permits, restrictions, and penalties associated with protests in Louisiana, providing a comprehensive overview of what protesters need to know before organizing or participating in a demonstration. Oy. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they got restrictions on this stuff. I mean, you can't just, you got to be careful. And it's going to get worse. That's what that Project 2025 has something in there about shutting that down.
Okay, permits are always required for demonstrations anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
I
they
heard there
have
was
some
something that was deeper than
conditions.
that. But it's we know how he is. And we're going to lose freedom of speech is already going down the tubes.
Well, that's what they stand on. They
Yeah,
they
but when
they
you
can't.
but when somebody doesn't want to say Gulf of America and to get kicked out of the press room,
Right.
that's a violation of freedom of speech from
That's
the
right.
federal
From the
government
federal
because they
government.
can't tell you what the fuck to say.
Right.
And if it just because it doesn't, you're not saying the word that you wanted everybody to say, doesn't mean that you deny him of his right to free press.
Um, I'm trying to see what they're doing with that. Have they filed a suit? Okay, they have filed a suit. They're gosh, the Associated Press is suing three Trump administration officials in federal court for banning AP reporters from some of President Trump's events. The AP alleges that the ban violates the first, which it does. It was filed on Friday morning. The judge assigned to the case is Judge Trevor McFadden, a Trump appointee. Er,
a Trump appointee. So that's going to be gone.
well,
You got a Trump judge on the case.
ooh, okay. Worst case scenario, it goes to the Supreme Court. It's constitutional.
Well, and I'm
It's
curious. I'm curious
constitutional.
to see what the Supreme Court does because they have not always been 100% what Trump wants in the past, right? They have, I mean, with the 2020 election, they said, "No, Trump, there ain't no fraud here. You lost, buddy. You ain't got nothing, right?"
Mm-hmm.
But now, but after we've seen these different justices hanging their flags and showing their boldness for this white supremacy thing, and Clarence Thomas and his wife and all that, and they ruled that he could break the law, it's okay while he's if it has to do with running the country,
Right.
which is crazy.
So even if they do
Yeah,
rule
even if
in the
they do say
favor of
something,
AP, it's fine for him to still do that.
he can still
because
do it.
it's
It
in
don't
the
matter.
act of his.
It don't matter.
Jesus Christ.
He can say, "No, I did it because I don't like the way they're talking about my country. They should be executed."
I just can't.
It's really
I just
it's
want to
really
move
kind of
somewhere else.
crazy.
The only way I could not be concerned if we moved somewhere else
We
in the next 4 years, because I
we
can't.
got to move to Thailand.
Oh gosh, just hang out somewhere else until all
Yes,
of this blows over. I
just
think
hang
that's
out
the
with the
only peace
monkeys
of
and just be
mind.
like, "Yeah, we good.
Oh, I've already
Nice fresh air."
I deleted Facebook off my phone, but I still have Instagram.
Yeah,
I think if I could just disconnect from social media, I would be
yeah.
free.
You need to because
But then you
she
want me
deleted
to
her
keep
face.
this on so we can do this podcast.
She deleted her Facebook, and then she's on off her phone, and she's on her computer on the browser on Facebook, and I'm like,
Oh.
okay, okay, it's baby
It's
steps,
different.
baby
It's
steps.
different. The
Yeah, it's
experience there is
different.
terrible, and
Yeah,
I just see who
okay.
said something, and then I just go. I don't spend hours on it. Instagram's a whole other kettle of fish. I just got back TikTok, um, because they put that back on the Apple App Store maybe a week or two ago.
Hmm.
But again, you insisted that I put these things back
Yeah, I need
on
to.
my phone for this podcast so we can
Oh
talk
yeah,
about this
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
me insane. And I sit around and I scream all day when I see stuff, and I'm calling people bitches
I know. I hear you.
the N word and everything. It's really not
And have you?
healthy
And it's
for me.
and the thing is, it's ever since Zuckerberg went in there and kissed the ring and gave him that millions of dollars and stuff. And then he goes back to the office and he says, "You know what? We're going to change our rules and we're going to start letting you call people retarded and stuff." Because it only describes a person, right? And so then they lifted the rules. They're not fact checking, right? And now you see, and now that my algorithm, I gotta curb it somehow. But now I'm getting a whole lot more of this stuff normalizing Trump that I didn't used to get, and I don't know why. I don't want to see it
Mm-mm,
because I'm not stupid, right? Then I don't like my phone lying to me. So
mm-mm, mm. Well, I'm still not as engaged Because I do have Blue Sky. Blue Sky is just still a very, very quiet space.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I try to work on other things. But, I think a bulk of my time is spent
Yeah.
with the Instagram reels.
Yeah, the Instagram, I mean, it's fun, it's
So
funny
fun.
sometimes, I guess, I don't know.
Just for the laughs.
The laughs.
The laughs.
Yeah. Yeah. I like YouTube reels, and it's kind of a neutral space, I think,
YouTube.
at YouTube. It all depends on where you go down though. Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
that
because you
dark
got
side
some
of
crazies
YouTube
in
too.
YouTube too. They're all over the place.
They really, it's just so unfortunate that people's lives are so miserable
Yeah.
that they have to worry so much about what other people are doing, what they think other people are getting. Um, it really sucks being those people.
That's yeah, it does.
I,
But I want to go back to what I was saying. We kind of just have to. We know what's going on, and we're of a certain age now to putting a lot of energy. We don't want negative energy in our inside our bodies, right? We know what's going on, and we know better, right? But we kind of have to find some type of, I hate to say it, but you just got to accept it for what it is and move forward and do the best that we can do to keep our families intact and make sure that we have what we need to survive when they cut all our social security off and all that crap.
are you doing that?
Am I doing that?
Yeah, are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't give a damn about this shit.
I don't think that's not the case. That's
Yeah.
not the case at all. It's not.
Well,
I mean, because like we
what
kind
I
of
mean, what else could? Because here's what are we gonna do? Are we gonna protest? The most we could do is create a platform and speak on what's going on and try to be helpful.
no. There are other things we can do because things that I have done that have helped me
Mm-hmm.
feel like I am contributing. That is not shopping at these places that have dialed back
Oh
their
yeah,
DEI.
there's that and there's that and
And
the other.
I feel like I'm doing my part, and I'm just looking for other ways that I can do something. I got on a call about 2 weeks ago,
Uh huh.
um, and I think it was, oh my goodness, it it was like a planning committee,
Mm-hmm.
and I was supposed to follow up, but I got to get better at that, and just trying to connect with people who have systems in place just to see what's going on and if there's some way I can be of help. So I'm just kind of dipping into to different things. If I get a text message saying, "Hey, we have this call on such and such a day and I'm able to do it and I'm off," or whatever, I'll dial in and just kind of listen in and see what's going on. So those kinds of things I'm looking out for, and I'm trying to participate in and be more active. The ACLU, we contribute to that each month, and they have a number of cases that they've filed against the Trump administration. I
Mm-hmm.
just got their magazine this a few days ago. So I've been going through their magazine and seeing the articles about the young folks that they're training up to
That's
be on the forefront
that's
of all this
fine.
stuff too.
It yeah.
Look, those
But
those are
it
things
just
those are
things
coping
just
mechanisms as
they're
well.
yeah. I see them more as a coping mechanism than actually of moving anything forward because they got that shit on lock. It taking them to court.
You have
it
to
can't,
really.
I can't keep hope alive
People
because hope is
cannot
dead.
just sit there and do nothing. We can't just sit there and do nothing. People have to figure out, you have to keep moving and you have to keep showing up. Because once you show up, you're just surrendering. We're not going to surrender.
But look, well, not surrender.
Well, that's what you're saying.
But what else are you going to do? I mean, look, you could go shopping. You could not go shopping like Friday the 28th. I'm not going to spend $1 anywhere. What do you actually think when people do that? Every black person would have to do it. Everybody's not going to do it because everybody don't even know. But I'm telling you all right now, on the 28th, Friday the 28th, don't spend $1 nowhere. If you got to spend some money, spend it the night before, spend it the day after, but not Friday the 28th.
Well, it's not don't spend money anywhere. You
spend it with a small business or with a black business.
Right.
If you have to.
Or a minority business if you have to. But like I said, I've been doing that all along. I don't shop at Walmart.
That's fine, but is that going to change the Supreme Court's mind, right? Is that going to keep Trump from building hotels in Gaza? Is that going to keep Trump from siding with Putin and helping him take over Europe? Is any of that is that going to bring back affirmative action or DEI? There's nothing that is not going. Nothing's going to do that. Nothing.
That's not the point of it. That's what you're missing.
So the point of it is to do it and feel good, like, oh, I did something, but what you actually did isn't going to do anything. This isn't.
I am one person. I have like what? The biggest platform I have is on Blue Sky, where I have maybe 270 followers. I have no influence. So I have to start where I can and influence where I can.
I understand.
So you can't say that it's not going to do anything.
What's it going to do? It takes more than somebody with influence. There were so many people with influence, talking about not letting this happen, and it happened. So
everyone, we're just all going to lay down. Rafael wants us all to lay down.
I'm not going to lay down, but what I'm saying is what you're doing, what's it going to change?
Okay.
Nothing is going to change. This has been.
What are you even talking about?
People have been talking about this. This has been coming for decades, and people have been talking about this, Citizens United and everything, and all the laws that they were changing and making it able to happen. And all people have done was say, "Oh well, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that," but none of it makes any difference. It is what it is, and we can't. And I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna say, "This shit is fucked up." But I'm not going to let it make me unhappy.
And what I am saying is, in order for me not to feel unhappy, the things that I have been doing, being more conscious of where I spend my hard-earned money, I think that helps me mentally and emotionally. That's first and foremost there. That's what you're speaking to. As far as it impacting all of this, of course not, which is why I'm also, like I said, tapping into organizations and seeing what it is they're doing. And if there's an opportunity for me to be a part of something that I feel like I can contribute, then that's what I'm going to do. So I'm looking for opportunities. Are you looking for opportunities?
No.
Okay.
Do we?
So
I don't need
anything.
I don't need the opportunity. I'm fine.
You're fine with the way everything is.
What am I going to do about it? I'm not fine with the way it is, but like I said, I'm not going to let it. I'm not going to wake up and be unhappy because of some shit that I can't control.
Okay.
So what is the ACLU doing?
Well, like I said, they are on the forefront of the legal challenges. These things have to go to court.
Yeah.
and you have to just keep throwing things at it.
So what were they at when affirmative action got turned down? What happened? What they do?
I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on
Okay.
but it's also the voters at the end
It's
of
the
the day. It's
voters.
the voters and the sources of information that they have. The misinformation machine is big.
That's
It's
big.
huge, and people are making choices based on lies and whatnot, and also their own selfish self interest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's not what can you do? This
It's
is
it is
what this country has always been about. That's
what you were talking, what you were saying about the misinformation. I hate the misinformation because that is just it. When I hear it, it's like you're stupid. You don't know no better. What I said is right. You don't know. You don't believe. Don't believe your eyes in what you saw.
mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And we get that from the right all the time. But then when I see MSNBC and Michael Steele on there, I hate that little kid. That little kid needs to be away from, he needs to be put in juvenile hall or somewhere or foster home. Elon's little kid. They need to get rid of that little boy. Do something to him.
Whew.
Do it. Get a do-over with him or
It's so
something.
bad
But
when
the boy,
when someone has
but
you
the boy
despising a
is
4-year-old.
clearly, but he is clearly looking
He's
across the
horrible
room.
child.
He's
Yes,
clearly
he's
looking
clearly.
across the room and addressing somebody from across the room.
Right.
Michael Steele gets on MSNBC and says, this little kid is telling this to the president.
And he's not.
He's not.
He's not.
Why did you say that?
Yeah.
If we're trying to combat misinformation with what? Misinformation? Why do we need to do that?
Well, you were telling you weren't you the one that was just saying we need to do what they do because it's strategic?
No.
You
I
kinda
wasn't saying
was.
no, I wasn't
You-
saying we need to do what they do.
You kind of
I was saying there was some issues that we could not have went so hard on, so they can't use them against us.
the only way they weren't going hard on it anyway. They were just including people. That's all they were doing.
So no, here's the thing. So when the president says, "Okay, I'm going to make it okay for for men, for transgender women to play in women's sports," knowing that it's not popular, when he says that,
Who said that?
Biden, when he does that, right? When Biden does that, and that's what he did, that's going hard on it.
Here we go. 2023. The Biden administration proposed Thursday a new federal rule change that would allow for schools to enforce some restrictions on transgender student athletes. Enforce restrictions. So misinformation.
What were the
But
restrictions?
opposes policies that categorically ban those students from participating on sports teams consistent with their gender. The proposed rule would establish that policies violate Title IX when they categorically ban transgender students from participating on sports teams consistent with their gender identity just because of who they are, according to the proposal. Okay. The proposed rule also recognizes that in some instances, particularly in competitive high school and college athletic environments, some schools may adopt policies that limit transgender students' participation. It continued, the rule change comes as GOP-led states across the country continue to push a variety of anti-trans measures, including bills intended to keep transgender students from playing on sports teams consistent with their gender identity. Biden has consistently spoken out against such efforts, but Thursday's announcement represents the most significant action yet that his administration has taken to combat them. Still, the reaction from LGBTQ advocates was mixed, with some groups saying the proposed guidance doesn't go far enough. Okay, so you have someone who's trying to walk a line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going hard one way or the other. That's what I read. He wasn't going hard one way or the other. He's trying to make concessions because we're talking about human beings. At the end of the day, we're talking about human beings. Christians, we're talking about human beings. So I feel like, again, the conservatives drove the narrative and made it appear like people were shoving this thing down your throat. And that really wasn't the case. It was trying to find a balance so that people, so that kids, people like the kids that we went to school with, that we actually know of, who had these identity crises that we didn't even acknowledge when we were growing up, so that so today those same children can feel better about themselves and be positive and constructive members of society. That's all that's about. Why do we want to continue?
But what Democrats failed to do,
What they failed to do,
was let that be known instead of not saying nothing.
I just read it.
You just read it. Yeah, but you didn't hear, you needed to have Democrats coming back with facts. If Republicans are lying, you need to come back with facts.
Democrats all came back with facts. The problem is the way the media handles their discussions. They think everything is an even playing field. That every way that people debate is an even playing field. They don't set a floor for truth. These are the truths that we are going to agree upon. Like if you talk about DEI, DEI is not about unqualified people. If we start talking about unqualified people, the conversation is a non-starter. Okay, so what we do is we let those freaking people get on the airwaves and misguide everybody because the media will not set a ground floor for honest debate. That's where we get the problem.
True.
Thank you. Makes me angry. So that's why we're all confused.
You.
That's all I'm passionate. I'm not angry. I'm passionate about it.
Nom D Q. Come on. USA.
Nom
USA. Yeah, there you go. Nom Q. Whatever. Yeah, there you go. USA. All right.
Well.
We're.
I made my point though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you one.
Okay.
You didn't have to yell at me, though.
You yelled at me.
I ain't yell at you.
You always yelling at me.
I ain't yelling at you.
Yeah, you do.
I'm trying to do whatever. Honey, WTF podcast. See how she do me? I'm just trying to be realistic here.
You started it. You started the whole, you get your little, I don't know, little emotions all into it when I tell you not to say something. Don't tell me not to do something.
You don't. Tell me not to say nothing. I say what I want to say. So freedom of speech. Well, you this ain't the White House press conference. You can't tell me what not to say.
I will banish you.
Okay, so we've been doing this about an hour now. I think we had a good conversation.
Okay.
What do you think?
An hour?
Was that it?
I guess.
I want Sunday we're going to, if the weather permits, we're going to Oakland.
To announce people that we're.
Why not?
What?
They might meet us there.
Let's not.
We
can talk about it after.
Sunday, I'm going to Oakland. And I'm going to go hold hands with a bunch of black people because it's Joy Black Day downtown. And we're going to hold hands and do the crowd surf, everything, and all that.
If the weather permits.
I'm going to bring a camera and a microphone, and I'm going to interview people.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to play it on the next episode of Honey WTF podcast.
All right.
So like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fun.
We will see you next week.
Okay.
All right. Bye bye.